Hey, welcome back to the stream. I'm Brent Halliburton.
I'm Nick Pierce.
Awesome. You are watching a super exciting round four. Round four?
Yeah, round four, round four.
Here at Dallas Regionals. We've got Preston Ellis versus Israel Sosa. These are two guys that both made top eight. Preston worked his way into top four at Anaheim Regionals, playing expanded just a month ago. So they're two top players at the top of their game, playing a format they understand extremely well. This is as good as Pokemon gets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have players who've done recently well at the regionals and still going into the early rounds of another regionals, still really doing well enough to make it into the higher higher rankings early on.
Absolutely. Preston Ellis at Anaheim was playing a Rayquaza list that he pretty much built by himself. It was really the only Rayquaza list that people were seeing at the top tables, and Israel was playing a Lucario deck that he basically built himself.
Yeah, it was. Lucario is one. It's like the fighting archetype we were discussing earlier. That seems to have sort of risen to the top as like the fighting deck to play in expanded. A lot of tools there's access to, things like a Karina for extra setup, and with the strong energy and everything else, just makes it really, really strong.
Yeah. And that's when you talk about how it rose to the top. It was watching Israel basically be the only guy playing this deck, and he drove an amazing outcome. And obviously, Israel's an amazing player, but I think people looked at that and said, that's a deck we got to test.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not just the fact that it's obviously strong against Zoroark, which is one of the most popular decks in Expanded, but it can hold its own against everything else as well, because, you start adding on choice bands and strong energies, all of a sudden that 120 is becoming 150, 170, and you're taking one-hit knockouts on a lot of the big threats that you haven't expanded.
Right. Well, and playing Focus Sash and combining that with Cantankerous Beatdown, I mean, there's a lot of different combos in this deck. It's very non-linear playstyle. That's something that suits Israel's playstyle.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are. We have gone into the match right now. It does look like Preston will be going first here. Started with that Zera Aura GX, of course, with that ability allowing you to retreat any Pokemon that you have out, so with Lightning Energy attached to it for nothing. So a very great addition to the Rayquaza deck, and we can see that it's definitely what he's playing again today.
Yeah, Ultra Balling the Ho-Oh and Energy turn one. You have to love that. If you're a Preston, that's a strong way to start the game.
Yeah, definitely. Ho-Oh EX is probably one of my favorite cards in Expanded, just for the virtue of it was a card that I played a lot back when it was still legal in Standard, and it's just a lot of fond memories associated with that card. But of course, with that really great rebirth ability, just allowing you to flip a coin if it's in a discard pile, and then if you get heads, you can put it onto the bench and then attach up to 3 basic energy cards of different types from your discard pile to it. So a great little energy accelerator for a Rayquaza.
Right. So do you have any opinions on how this matchup works? Are there keys to the success of these two?
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of trading almost just one-shots for one-shots. If Israel can build up his Lucario to the point where he's taking one-hit knockouts on the Rayquazas, then he's probably going to do pretty well. But, of course, it's going to be a little bit easier for Preston to do one-shots on Lucario than for Israel to do them back onto the Rayquazas. So I think a lot of it is going to come down to that. Also, the fact that Preston has started with Zera Aura means that there's a very easy knockout target available for Israel there, so that's not going to help him in this particular game.
Right, right. I think what's one of the things I'm looking forward to, I'd like to find out whether or not Preston plays field blowers. I mean, Focus Sash seems like the kind of thing that could really swing how this matchup works.
Yeah, that is not a big part of it as well. So a lot of these Rayquaza lists, one of the big worries is, of course, that Garbotoxin, Garbodor, because, of course, if all the abilities get shut off, then you can't use Rayquaza's ability, you can't use Marshadow, like your entire deck is ability reliant. So I would be shocked if he wasn't packing at least 2 copies of Field Blower, which in turn would also help deal with the Focus Sashes.
It's interesting. I feel like when I tested this deck coming out of Anaheim, it played very few Field Blowers.
Yeah.
Maybe none, but we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, we will. Yes, indeed we will. So looks like he's got an early Sycamore there, able to draw another fresh 7 cards. And is that another Ho in his hand? So, from my understanding, this kind of tended to only play 1 Ho usually, but it seems like Preston here is playing 2.
No, I think he actually plays a bunch of Ho-Ohs.
Oh, okay, right. So
and his goal is to try to hit battle compressors.
Yep.
Throw all those Ho-Ohs away.
And one Rayquaza goes down, the 3 cards discarded, and that will be another energy attached to the Rayquaza. So Preston getting himself set up nicely here. He's looking to probably get himself, maybe try and find a couple of max elixirs if he can, but he might. It doesn't look like he can go much further unless he decides to Ultra Ball, maybe get a Shaman to just draw some more cards. another Ho-Oh and discard 2 is pretty good for him.
Yeah, I think he was using that Stormy Winds. He was checking his deck to make sure he's discarding the right kinds of energy, so when he rebirths, he gets 2 energies back on the board.
That would be exactly it.
That's why he looked at his hand and saw he was going to Ultra Ball of Grass Energy and said, okay, well, I'm going to Stormy Winds of Grass Energy onto this Rayquaza.
One of the other things I love about this deck is just how strong Marshadow is in it. I think out of all the decks expanded, it's one of the decks that can sort of make use of it the most. Just, that early disruption, just setting your opponent down to 4 cards in hand can just sometimes steal games out of nowhere. It's a really powerful effect, both in standard and expanded.
Right, and they're running the Mysterious Treasures, so they've got more outs to Marshadow turn 1 than anyone else.
Yeah, very, very true. Now, Preston's just mulling this over a little bit before he proceeds, thinking, do I actually want to Marshadow right now? Where do I want to attach this energy? And it looks like, it's going to be a grass onto the Ray with lightning on it, and then let loose.
Right. Saying, which energy do I want to conserve in deck for future turns?
Yeah. This way as well, no matter which Rayquaza he ends up bringing up, he will be able to use Tempest GX of either one, should he decide that's his optimal play on turn 2.
Right. This kind of natural Marshadow disruption is absolutely brutal. I think our big question now is going to be, what kind of hand does Israel draw? Does he draw a hand where he can kind of meaningfully play Pokemon now?
Yeah. Ooh, this looks to be a Max Elixir. It does find a Lightning and another Grass. You're going to opt to put the Grass onto the Ray with 2 energy already on it, so that one will be ready to attack now. But it looks like the rest of his hand isn't that workable, because Xurkitree is Skyfield and another energy.
And one of the things I always talk about with my kids when we're testing is, the challenge with Let Loose is sometimes you let loose on yourself.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and it ends up sort of backfiring in that sense.
Yeah, you've got to feel like you're pretty set up before you want to play it.
Yeah, there is a rebirth from Preston, able to hit the heads on that, gets 2 more energy onto the field. So already it's got up to 180 damage from Rayquaza there, but it looks like Israel's hand is not that well. Oh, he has a Juniper.
He's got a Juniper. I think he top decked that Juniper.
That's pretty good. Cannot complain about that. So Israel not really being hurt by the Marshadow at all, and is able to get a decent setup going with the Buzzwole and 2 Remoraid's, and with the Juniper as well, he just really wants to find a Riolu now. That will be like his main priority, and he has got the Ultra Ball.
Yeah.
So that'll find him the Riolu right there, and that's pretty much everything he needs. The only worry might be if Preston's able to find a Guzma next turn and KO the Riolu before it evolves, but...
Yeah, he's got a Seeker in hand, he's got a strong energy.
That's a Floatstone. And already you can start putting some hurt into this Zeraora, of course, being weak to fighting. That Sledgehammer attack is already doing 100 damage.
Yeah. Nice to find fighting weak Pokemon, so you don't have to be at 4 prizes to have an impact.
Yeah. And Preston not able to find anything useful off the top of his
Preston
deck.
let loose himself, and while Israel had no problems, attaches Choice Band Strong, and then Seekers for Juniper.
Yeah, sad times for Preston, and now... I mean, Israel already has a knockout guaranteed on the Zeraora without even doing anything else. He can get Lucario ready for next turn to try and sort of build up to knockout on a Rayquaza, and this is just bad news for Preston.
Yeah, he gets a second Riolu ready. And obviously what Preston would like to do next turn is swing up and take a knockout on, probably not the Buzzwole, but...
Yeah, ideally. The tricky thing for Preston as well is that he wants to try and trade even prizes for even prizes. All Preston's attackers are GXs, so he kind of wants to wait for Israel to go into his Lucario GXs before really doing anything. But
yeah, Preston just has a dead hand. He's just gonna have to take this knockout.
He does have a Max Elixir at least, so he can, as long as he can find it under Lightning Energy, which he does. So that's both the Rays ready to go right now. So that's pretty good. But in terms of the prize trade, he's only getting 1 prize off this Buzzwole here.
So Israel's going to need a little more damage output if he evolves that Riolu to Lucario. He either needs a Strong or a Diancie to get to 180.
Which to be fair, shouldn't be too hard for him to find, right?
That sounds very achievable.
Yeah, especially with Diancie, because he has have so many outs to get that out. Either Karina will do the trick, any sort of Pokemon search really. It's like, yeah, well, Preston just needs to be very careful how he approaches this.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's if he's in a situation where he could just end up so far behind.
There's the Ultra Ball, so already that's as long as he's able to find the Lucario as well as the Diancie, that will be the knockout guaranteed. And the fact he's getting Diancie, he's got to tell you, he has the Lucario ready to go.
Right. But even though the let loose happened, he's making it look easy.
Yeah. Yep, just the let loose not affecting him in the slightest. So, and with that, there's Lucario ready to go. So, knockout is guaranteed on the Rayquaza, and it sort of goes back to what we were saying before. If Israel is able to, do these one-hit knockouts so easily, then he's going to be in very good stead to beat this Rayquaza deck.
Yeah. So Preston's going to be able to return this knockout, right?
He is, but then
he needs one energy to return the knockout.
Yeah.
But he can also rebirth to get the energy on the board.
Yes, he can. I think
so he's got a bunch of outs.
I think the problem is just what Preston does afterwards, right? Because sure, this Ray may be able to knock out the Lucario. Israel just brings up his Riolu and presumably evolves again and just attacks him back again. Maybe it won't be.
Although he won't have the choice band, right?
No.
It turns into a 2-hit.
Which is fine as long as the Focus Sash stays there.
So, but if he's able to make the Focus Sash stick, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, and so that's what it's going to come down to, whether Preston is able to find his Field Blower, presuming he plays any. That's going to be the most important thing.
Rebirth.
Here. There's the Tails.
Tails.
Big miss.
He does not have the energy that he needs to take the knockout on the Lucario.
No, and I'm fairly sure that means he just loses, right? Because well, no, actually, Israel can't do the extra damage with the.
Yeah, he didn't evolve this turn.
But either way, it's not.
But if he hits into him for 180, Israel runs a lot of Acerolas.
Yes, so and then that would be pretty much disastrous.
So he would start digging for the Acerola. You get Ultra Ball Lele for it.
Yeah, so he just, Preston just goes to the Tempest GX, discards the Xurkitree in his hand.
Yeah, it's not worth putting damage on Lucario and risking Cantankerous beatdown.
No, exactly.
Or Acerola for the knockout.
So now Israel takes his turn. There's a Scoop Up Cyclone. It's a huge card for Israel right now. Use that.
He's regretting putting the Focus Sash on that Riolu. He would have the knockout if he was able to get the Sash off.
Yeah.
Scoop up the Lucario and then advance the Riolu, right?
Yeah, he would, and I don't think there's any way for him to work around that unless he's able to find a Field Blower of his own.
He's got the blower.
Oh!
He blows his own Sash.
Wow.
Oh.
That is it. Game over.
Well
Scoop
played.
Up Cyclone.
Scoop up Cyclone. Expect Preston to scoop up his cards in a hot second. Israel's shuffling hard.
Yep. Bang, bang. Done.
He's like, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Huge move there from Israel, and
that's the power of that Lucario deck.
Yeah, and this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning about how this has become seemingly like the favored fighting variant in Expanded, just because it just seems to synergize so well with the tools that you have here, with the Karinas finding the choice bands and the focus sashes, and combined with the Diancie and the strong energy, just to do insane amounts of damage for only one energy.
I think what was most amazing to me about that is I traditionally think of that Lucario deck as a 2-hit deck.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was able to find the pieces, turn in, turn out, to make it a 1-hit deck.
Yeah, and that's just it's kind of how the deck has evolved now, especially because for a while, of course, the really big use we saw for Lucario was sort of as this, how do I put this, partner to Zoroark, basically. It was one like the many sort of stage 1 options we saw there, but Israel is saying, no, Lucario is strong enough to operate on its own.
Right, yeah, he's just saying straight Lucario.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a huge advantage against Zoroark decks. And you can see here, obviously, it performed at Anaheim, and and at other terms, it's strong against the field.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. And Preston's going to have to find a way to sort of counteract this, because he kind of got destroyed there a little bit. It was it was a little bit bad luck as well. He had set up although it was okay, he like missed a few crucial KOs, which could have kept him in the game.
Right.
But how do you come against this?
Yeah, as we always say, when you judge, when you play judge, you judge yourself. When you let loose, you let loose yourself. I mean, the goal is hopefully you've thinned your hand your deck so efficiently that you're in better shape than the other guy.
Yeah, that's how the theory goes. But of course, as we've just seen, it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, but that was really rough.
I don't know about you, but I've also had some personal experience with that playing Marshadow.
I basically have nothing but bad let loose. It's never worked for me.
Yeah.
We have a saying in my family: the universal truth is when you delinquent your opponent to 0, they will top deck a Sycamore.
Yep.
And when you let loose, you will draw a brick hand.
Every time.
There's just nothing else.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Game 2.
We're back in the game.
Preston will be going first. It starts with a Zeraora again. Oh, that's such an unfortunate start for him, just because it's such an easy liability for Israel to knock out, even with this Buzzwole.
Yeah, well, that's what we saw last game, right?
Yeah.
Now Israel doesn't even have to retreat to start smacking him with the Buzzwole. It's safe to assume you're going to see very similar kind of outcomes this game.
Yeah. It does have the Skyfield there. Oh, just goes to the blind Stormy Winds, and that's a miss.
That's got to hurt.
Yeah. Does he just go for it again, I wonder? I think, he's going to go for it again. There we go. So he gets one at least.
Got one.
It's always a bad feeling when, he binned both his rescue stretches as well off that. That is...
And he didn't find supporters. I
No.
assume, he's got a Versus Seeker in hand. He wanted to find a supporter there. Now he's got a Lele.
Yeah, that's far from ideal. He actually just goes to the Shaman instead, which is interesting.
I'm sorry, this is my first expanded tournament in a little while. Of course you're going to go for the Shaman. He's put his hand size down to a card.
Yeah, it's a Shaman.
He's got a Lele in hand.
Yeah, I mean, Shaman used to just be everywhere in Standard, and now it's just you sort of see an expanded, and then you remember, that's a card, that's still really good. So of course, enables you to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand when you play it from your hand onto your bench. And it looks like Preston drew pretty decently off of that. It's fine. So now just looking for his hand again. He's got free energy on board, it looks like already. A Mysterious Treasure could enable him to get another Rayquaza if he wants to, or he could try for Marshadow again, go for Let Loose if he feels like taking that risk. I mean, could end up like it did last game, but he could end up just sneaking out a win because of it. So I think, he's going to go for it here. With any luck, he'll have better luck drawing off of it than he did last time.
All right, so we've pulled together the commentating superstarness. He runs no field blowers.
Wow, okay.
So Focus Sash is a really tough card for him to play around in this deck. It'll be interesting to see if that comes more into play here. I mean, Israel only runs one Choice Band. He found it and had huge impact early and was able to one-hit all those Rayquazas, but it'll be interesting to see. I would think that most games would play out substantially differently than the game that we just saw.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, no field blower. That is absolutely huge. And there's no other supporters either that might help with that. There's no Faber or anything like that either. It's just that is pretty much
right.
There's no way to get rid of tools.
I think it's a very linear deck where they're like, I'm going to find Battle Compressors, I'm going to push Ho-Ohs into my discard, we're going to rebirth a bunch turn 1, and we're going to see how it goes.
And I guess the game plan against Garbodor is to just get so much energy on the board turn 1 that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're like, I hit a bunch of Max Elixirs and I attached a bunch of energy and I hit Rebirth once in turn 1, and now we're going to just crush everything.
Makes sense. Preston debating where to attach this lightning energy, debating whether to actually discard it. And it looks like he might just do that, maybe thinking he wants to make sure that another Stormy Winds actually is a hit, and goes to the second
I think it's you'd want energy in the discard.
Yeah. And it does pay off because he does see another lightning there in hand, so he can now attach that to the Zeraora instead. Or he could Ultra Ball it away, actually. He has that Ho-Oh in hand. Which
he's got the Skyfield down. I would be surprised if he didn't try to push harder this turn.
Yeah. He's opting to discard Sudowoodo instead, sort of realizing that it's probably not going to be very helpful to him in this specific matchup. Can just go for another Ray here, just get another energy down.
Does he grab a Ray or does he grab a Shaman and just keep pushing?
I think he's been through both of his shamans already. 'Cause he plays 2, one's on the field, and he discarded one off the sycamore. So
okay.
I don't think that's an option anymore. Okay, no, I was wrong. He discarded something else. So, yeah, there is indeed, just like you said, he's going to try and dig a bit further here. He's got more cards to play too, so he should be able to draw pretty decently off this. He can just attach the energy, play the max elixir, and just really keep going. Oh, there's the array too. And there's a grass.
Now he's got his choice of... He's already got a lightning in the discard, so he leaves the grass.
Yep. Another max elixir.
Yep. He's just burning his hand so he can play down that shaman.
This is a very, very strong turn 1 from Preston here. Pretty much hitting all the right notes and making sure that the setup is really strong to just carry him through the rest of the game.
I think we're going to find out just how strong it is when he starts flipping for rebirth. I mean, sadly, I think there's some element of the quality of this turn will be determined by coin flips.
Yeah. I mean, if he misses rebirth this turn, no, it's not the end of the world. He'll have like more turns to do it where he actually needs the damage probably to push to the knockouts.
True enough. He's going to get a lot of chances to flip heads. Israel has no way to turn off all these abilities.
Yeah, so, and there is a heads right there, so doesn't even need to worry about it.
Yeah.
There's a Ho-Oh and 2 extra energy on the field. Now, there's a retreat into the Marshadow and a pass. Of course, that Marshadow does have fighting resistance, so we'll be able to actually absorb a decent amount of hits from this Buzzwole here.
Yeah, he's probably not going to one-hit this with Buzzwole.
Yeah.
So he opts to attach the energy to Riolu and doesn't even worry. Like, he's not going to attack this turn.
Very interesting. Yeah, just realizing, I guess, that he's not going to get much value out of attacking the Marshadow here with the Buzzwole, so instead just deciding, you know what, I'm going to set up to do the just attack with Lucario as soon as I possibly can. Both players getting 6 off this N. Another focus action, Mr. Mime too, not going to be much use to Israel. And a strong energy.
Preston has drawn a lot of energy in Pokemon. Preston might not have a good hand here.
Just a pass from Israel after that. Preston draws his second Ho-Oh. If he has a discard out, then it'd be good to...
Yeah, he's got 3 energies. I think 3 Pokemon on a Skyfield.
Ooh.
Preston's like, how could I pretend like my hand is not completely terrible? Oh, one of the Pokemon's a Lele.
Oh, well, okay, that makes it better then. And yeah, of course, he's just going to grab Guzma and just go for the Remoraid, just try and really disrupt Israel's consistency engine. And that's definitely enough damage to knock out the Remoraid right there. First prize of the game. Now an onus back on Israel. Look like there's a Buzzwole in Israel's hand, and he's going to play it down with a strong energy. Go for a Guzma of his own, actually bring up another Ray with no energy on it, and start doing some Jet Punches to maybe set up some KOs for later.
That's interesting. Obviously, Israel's got the Colress in hand. He opts to just try to stall out Preston, and instead of grabbing a gajillion cards and seeing how his board state evolves. Yeah, Preston's got the lightning. It's free retreater.
Yep, that's one of the benefits of playing Zeraora, of course, is that you have a lot more flexibility with your Rayquazas. It's something that the deck is really missing a lot, because it's why the deck tended to play high switch counts before, because it just needed them to switch between different attackers, but Zeraora makes that not necessary anymore. Looks like Lightning goes on to the Ho-Oh, interestingly enough.
I think the strategy there, and this is one of the fun things about this deck that gives it a little bit of non-linearity, is he plays a Ninja Boy. So when he hits a rebirth, he can attach Ninja Boy into a Rayquaza and do like those kind of tricks.
That is pretty cool.
It's a cute tech.
It makes it so that the Ho-Ohs don't just sit there doing nothing really once the energy is on them.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, we do see there. What should be a one-hit knockout on the Buzzwole, but of course that Focus Ash means that instead the Buzzwole's left on 10 and the Focus Ash gets discarded.
Yeah, see, that's why I had mixed feelings about the Guzma play. And obviously, if he hadn't had the lightning energy, it would have worked out great for Preston. But because he didn't Colress last turn, he didn't have an Acerola in his hand for this turn. I mean, he would love to have an Acerola in his hand, and instead he puts himself in a situation where if this GX gets knocked out, they're going to skip the Sledgehammer turn.
Yeah, exactly.
He would love to Sledgehammer.
And that's exactly what Preston wants, because, of course, the Sledgehammer turn would be one way that Israel could really come back in this game, because, of course, taking a one-hit knockout on a GX with a single prize Buzzwole is a really strong turn.
Yeah.
But
Israel just keeps drawing cards. That was a big chorus.
That's the power of Chorus. But were any of them actually useful? I see an assortment of different energy. I see a Lucario too.
Yeah, see, he's got an Acerola in his hand now. If he had not gone for the Guzma play the last turn, on the one hand, he would have... I guess he had the Focus Ash in hand. He could have just put it on the Baby Buzz and hit into that Rayquaza.
So there's a fighting energy onto the Buzzwole. Actually just goes to the manual retreat, brings up the other Lucario, and because of the softening up that Israel did with Jet Punch, he can actually take a knockout here on the Ray, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the argument for the Jet Punch is he put 2 Rays in kind of easy KO space for the Lucarios.
Yeah, so obviously that's pretty strong. Preston just deciding what to discard here off of the Skyfield going away, and it looks like he's going to choose to get rid of the 2 Shaymins and Tapu Lele, just try and take as many GX prizes off the board as he can. And so, yeah, he just opts for those. Oh, actually, no, I was wrong.
He whiffs the knockout.
It's 10 short. Oh, that's got to be rough.
Yeah, well, and the terrible thing was, he had put the strong on the Big Buzz. So he lost that strong energy.
Yeah. I can't see, Preston's attaching something off camera. Is that
He's
another
got a
Ray?
Rayquaza just slightly off screen.
Okay.
That is, I think, fully powered up. I think it's got 2 lightnings and a grass.
Okay. So that's fine then. Yeah, Preston's realizing he's still got to be a little bit careful here because obviously he can take the one-hit knockout in air quotes now.
No, he's got a Focus Sash on
That's what I mean. It's one-hit knockout in air quotes, so he can knock off the Focus Sash, and that looks like that's what he's going to do. Yeah, off goes the Focus Sash, but now, I mean, in terms of Israel's healing cards, he's
got the Acerola.
He's got Acerola, and he has Scoop Up Cyclone as well, so he could, if he's able to find both this turn and just heal off his Buzzwole and his Lucario, that would be an insane turn of events.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's exactly where he wants to be, where he played the Focus Sash, making Preston play the 2-hit game with him. If he finds Acerola, pulls up the Lucario, re-evolves the Riolu on the bench, and just streams Lucarios at him.
I think he's wondering if maybe
I don't think he has the Acerola, because I think it's the Acerola right under the strong, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
I think he might be wondering if he could do some clever play with Jet Punch Guzma. Use the residual damage to KO the Ray that will be inactive, but that is inactive, but then will be switched. And that's what he's going for, yeah. So, the Seeker for Guzma, you can do a Jet Punch, KO the... Oh, hold on. Is that enough to take a double knockout now? Yeah, it is. He can knock out the Zeraora and the Rayquaza in one go. The Choice Band and the Strong Energy and the Diancie. 4 prizes in one turn.
Preston puts up the Ho-Oh.
It's an insane turn from Israel right there.
I think he's looking for the Ninja Boy because he's going to Versus Seeker into the Ninja Boy.
Has he discarded it earlier?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Rayquaza just off the screen.
Oh, yeah, he actually takes the knockout of Rainbow Burn.
With the Rainbow Burn.
That works.
That's nice.
It's quite clever, too, because I'm fairly sure the Ho-Oh has resistance to fighting. So, I could be wrong, but that doesn't matter. There's a strong energy.
Yeah.
Cantankerous beatdown takes the KO, and yeah, Israel wins a very convincing 2-0 series.
Lucario. That's a strong deck.
Yeah, it's very, very strong. Just that damage just ramps up so quickly. It's like the amount of damage boosters that this deck has access to and expanded is borderline obscene.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's just really impressive demonstration of just how powerful this Lucario archetype is.
Impressive performance by Israel Sosa.
Yeah.
And I think we saw all of the kind of non-linear play style of you attacking with Baby Buzz, attacking with Lucario, attacking with Buzzwole GX.
Yeah.
Using all the different kind of attacks that Lucario has, where he wants damage counters on your Lucario.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and
just
he's using Focus Sash to kind of put himself in a situation where that always happens.
Yeah, and we said even though it's a one-shot deck trading for a one-shot deck, the Focus Sash just really puts, especially when you're not playing Field Blower, that just puts you at such an advantage. So.
Yeah, very impressive. I think we're going to try and get Israel on here to talk a little about his deck.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
I'm here with Israel Sosa, the winner of last round. Israel, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So, this is my first interview. I've commentated all these regionals. I've never actually done an interview before, so I'm super excited to be talking with Israel Sosa. And the first question I have to ask is, why Lucario? And let me just set this up by saying, were there other people in Anaheim playing this deck?
So for Anaheim, it was just me. It was just more like when it started out, it was just like as a joke kind of thing. Like I was just playing like off TTC Go, and it started to show like actual progress, and like just I took it to a league challenge just to see if it works with time, and it works well, and it was beating Zoroarks, and that was like the big thing. And I expected a lot of Zoroarks, and it worked out in Anaheim. And today, it's 2 people running the same list as me. Me and Kenny Britton are running the same 60.
Gotcha. So what did you change from Anaheim to today?
Let's see. I changed. Well, I added 4 different cards. I took out the Science Lab, the Landy EX, an Ultra Ball. What else I took out? The Faba, an Acerola, and I think that's about it. And then I added a Buzzwole GX, a Mr. Mime for the Wailord hype.
Right.
Even though the
Wailord
solid
hype.
I lose if I don't have it. So I added another Remoraid, added an S-Ball, and what was the last thing I added? Oh, and a third Guzma.
Right. So besides Wailord, were there any specific matchups that you were thinking about when you made those changes?
When we were making those, me and Kenny were talking about it last night. We were up to 2, 3 in the morning, trying to figure out the same 60, and we decided we wanted to focus more on Zoroark variants instead of the Blastoise. We were trying to make it where we could beat the Blastoise and still keep the synergy with the Zoroark matchups, but at the end of the day, it's just like we know if we're going to win this tournament, we have to beat Zoroark.
Right.
So we'd rather just take the bullet on the Blastoise and hope we don't run into them, and just run pure Zoroark.
So does trading the Landorus for the Buzzwole GX, does that affect the Zoroark matchup?
No, it doesn't. I mean, well, it does.
I would assume, given how popular Zoroark is, you would be like, well, that kind of makes it worse.
Well, usually I don't go for spread. Like if I start out with the spread, then I'll go for it.
Right.
But most of the time, it's just like get right with energy and focus sash, kick back, relax, and then go from there. But we thought about it, like it's like going double buzz, just not taking the water weakness at all.
Right.
But we were like, just there's 800 people, we have to just play like mixed up. So we just decided on the 1-1 split.
Awesome. How awesome was Anaheim? I mean, top 8.
It was good. I lost to Preston in top 8, so this is like a revenge
really?
match. So this is a revenge match.
So what was different about that matchup versus today?
Well, the first one I didn't draw as well. It was just like game 1, I didn't see any single energy, and game 2, it's just like nothing was going together.
Right.
Today I blew up, and it's supposed to go how the matchup's supposed to go.
Oh, it was. It looked like it was an auto win.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. That's all from Dallas. We'll be back with round 5 in just a few minutes.